Well, good morning, everybody. I'm down here at the Dome when there's not a lot of people in here. And as you can see, it's a beautiful area. Beautiful, beautiful spot to have these Cirque du Soleil type shows from Eloise that are from Montreal, the dance troupe. But they have an issue because numerous times now there's been arguments and almost fights. And last night it got even worse. So here you can see behind me is a little bar area and everything. They're having Bible studies this morning, so I don't want to disturb them. But this is where people would come in to line up to get in to Dome Show. So they have this area here roped off, and people will stand in line or have a seat in our area and walk their way out. But there's an issue with that. So what happens is, I'm going to be quiet because they're studying over here. Okay, so people will come into here and they'll have the bar area that's over here. And so people will start lining up along this corridor here. And at a certain point, what they were doing was closing the doors off, and then everyone would line up out here. Okay? Sounds like an easy way to do it, right? Yesterday, for some reason, one of the officers had the bright idea of having everyone who was in the bar come out of the bar and start lining up, not even here, wanted us to line up past that doorway over there to allow people who were coming into this bar from this entrance into it. Well, okay. Well, that sounds fun, right? Except the people who were coming into the bar, well, those folks were also going to the show. So people were just saying, hey, wait a minute, you can't let those people in. You can't let them go into the Dome and then go into the show. We've been standing here for well over an hour. And they just arrived. And so eventually the arguments were getting so heated that he had to let everybody back into the bar, where we all stood up again. Even the people who were sitting down, even though we still had over an hour and a half left to go before the show started, they even started standing up because they were angry that they might lose their spot. The way it worked before was people were lined up. Once those doors closed, when they opened the theater, they would have a little area moved aside, and people with strollers and scooters, they would let them in first. And people would make room for them, let them go in, because there's only a certain amount of accessible chairs in this theater. Remember, it only holds 250 people. Very small venue. There's 4,000 people on this boat. In order for everyone to see the show, they would have to have 16 shows, and they don't. So that's not working. So that part, people lined up, not getting in. It was a bit of a mess. Even the bartenders were saying, what is this officer doing last night? So I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but it was not well done. And people were angry, and I don't see people on Princess angry very often, but they were angry. And I didn't leave the bar. I wasn't going anywhere. I was in line 3.5 hours early, which is kind of ridiculous that you have to be at a show 3 hours early to get in. So yeah, not a big fan of that. That is an issue going on currently. And it seems to be the number one theme on this cruise is that the theater venues are too small. Both the arena venue and the Dome, especially the Dome. The like having to come in, people were in here playing cards 4.5 hours before the show just to make sure that they got a seat. That's not a well-run system. That's not the best way to do things. I don't know the solution. Do you have a numbering system? Do you have to start making reservations like you do on Royal Caribbean? Something. But boy, like I saw people just about to rip the roof off of this place yesterday. And I've heard on previous cruisings there were almost fist fights because even the way they were doing it, and you had that locked off spot once they closed the doors. Well, once they said, okay, they're going to open around 8:15, so around 8 o'clock, all the people who were sitting down in here would stand up, and then they'd crowd around the entranceway. Meanwhile, people back near the door who had been standing there were going, wait, I've been standing here for an hour. You've been sitting down, get in the back of the line, and see how it starts. Something has to be done. That is not the way to have your entertainment venue be the point of conflict and the point of friction. And if it keeps the way it is right now, there's going to be fights. And I don't want to have to start, there's enough Carnival cruise ship fights out there. We don't need fights on Princess because people can't get into the theater. Okay, here's another tip. See these chairs that are down here? Well, you see how one look on top is a stool, the other is a chair. Well, they actually come out like right there, lounge chairs. And they come apart. So when they take them apart, this is a chair, and then that is a chair. So when they take these apart, there's literally 6 seats, and then 12 seats. But on the landings, you have a row here in the front, and then a row there in the back. The trouble is, once you're above this level, and you get to the second and third levels, the people in the back are at the exact same height as the people in the front. So there's no slant, which means you're looking directly behind the person in front of you. Now, some of the numbers are up there in the ceiling, and they're doing their spot spinning and everything. Those are fine. However, a lot happens right here on the stage that's right in front of you, even though they might be on a pedestal or something. Once you're up into those levels, it's very neat, which makes it a little awkward in the second row. So here's the tip. If you're coming here, first of all, come into the bar early, and then you won't be locked out of the show. Get a seat. Even if you're sitting, you're going to be one of the first people into the theater. At least you're going to get a half decent seat, because there's no reserve seating or anything in here as well. Second of all, when you're finding a seat, look for the front rows on each level, not the second row of each level. You won't see as much. So, yeah, they have some issues. I almost wish that they just would have gone and done regular stadium seating in here. Instead of 2 rows in here, they could have done 3. But during the day, it's a beautiful place for people to come and relax in the sunshine, listen to some music. It's really great for that. But for the venue of showing the arts and the store, it just doesn't work. And it's such a nice venue, and the shows are fun and exciting. But when only 250 people per show, and they only do 2 shows or so far, that's 500 out of 4,000 people. And when there's almost fights to get in, or people have to stand for 2.5 to 3 hours to get a seat, I think something honestly needs to be done and figured out a better way to do it. Well, that's my tips on the Dome show. The shows are great. The cast is great. It's the venue that has a little bit of an issue. Until next time, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. To see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.